So everybody, it's your boy Big Papa JT, and I'm coming football, college football predictions and analysis. And we have Alabama versus LSU, and probably which is the most anticipated game of the year. We have number one Alabama going against, I believe, number three LSU. And this game is what we all expected it to be. Well, what we're going to expect it to be, or hopefully. Can LSU make Tua Tagovailoa play in the fourth quarter? Now, this is basically the SEC has two semifinal games. Basically, if Alabama beats LSU, they basically punch their ticket into the college football playoffs, and they punch their ticket into the SEC championship. And LSU, on the other hand, needs this win to stay alive in the college football playoff hunt and in the SEC championship hunt. And many questions arise. Can LSU get in with two losses over a one-loss team? That's the question. So let's look at the offense and defense comparisons, comparing the LSU offense to the Alabama defense. So Alabama on defense is 16th in the country in yards per game given up. They allow 307.9 yards per game. They're 33 in the nation in passing yards per game allowed. They allow 194.5 passing yards per game. They average 113.4 rushing yards allowed, which is 21st in the country, and they're 10th in points per game allowed, allowing 15.9. Now, a lot of people feel like this is the worst Alabama defense for some reason, but I feel this is a pretty okay defense. Not the best, but in my opinion, Alabama's worst is a lot of teams' best. So I'm not really concerned about the defense. The LSU offense is 86th in the country, averaging 383.6 yards per game. They're 101 in the country and passing yards per game with 193. They're 43rd in the nation in rushing yards per game with 190.6 rushing yards per game. And they average 28.1 points per game, which is 76th in the country. So, comparing the Alabama offense to the LSU defense, this is the best Alabama offense ever, which is really, really scary. They're second in the country behind Houston, having averaged 564.3 yards per game on offense, fifth in the nation in passing yards per game with 347.4. They're 30th in the nation running the ball, averaging 316.9 rushing yards per game. And they're number one in the country in points per game score. They average 54.1 points per game, which is incredible. And the LSU defense is 22nd in the nation and yards per game given up, allowing 330.3 yards per game. They're 37th in the nation and passing yards per game given up, allowing 199.8 passing yards per game. They allow 130.5 rushing yards per game, which is 32nd in the nation. And they only allow 15.1 points per game, which is 7th in the nation. So the keys to victory that each team needs to execute in order to win this game, LSU has to get pressure on Tua Tagovailoa. I think this is pretty obvious because every team that we have seen Alabama play has not been able to get pressure on Tua. And when Tua has all day to throw, he takes advantage. And if LSU can at least get a little bit of pressure, at least get a few hits on Tua, I think this will be enough to limit Alabama from scoring 30 points this game, or maybe less than that, because we really haven't seen a lot of teams get constant pressure, and LSU has to do that to win this game. Have to, and I believe they can. They have a pretty good defense. This is the best defense that Alabama is most likely going to play all season, and I believe they will be able to get pressure on Tua Tagovailoa. LSU also has to control the time of possession. Alabama can score really quick, so I don't really think that will make a difference. But you want to keep this Alabama offense on the field as less as possible, because no matter what, they can score really, really quick. This is probably the fastest Alabama's offense that we have seen in Alabama history. They can score in 30 seconds. They can score in 1 minute. They can score in whatever amount of time. So they need to keep this Alabama offense off the field and keep Tua Tagovailoa on the sidelines. And they also had to create turnovers. I don't think Tua Tagovailoa has turned the ball over all year. And LSU is going to have to make them turn the ball over if they want a chance to win this game, because let's face it, they're going to have a hard time scoring the offense because their offense is pretty average. Joe Burrow, I believe, is a good quarterback, but I feel he's played okay, but he can play a lot better. This LSU offense isn't nothing special. They're not really good at anything particular besides running the ball, and we know LSU is going to stop that. So LSU is going to have to create turnovers and get the ball in good field position to have a good chance of scoring more points than what they average all season, which is 28.1 points per game. But really, they average less than that against SEC opponents. So they're going to have to create turnovers and get the ball in Alabama territory and able to increase their chances of scoring and winning this game. Alabama, on the other hand, doesn't really have to do much. Just stop the run, limit turnovers, and get pressure on Joe Burrow, and that's basically it. It's pretty much self-explanatory. Alabama cannot themselves, and if they don't beat themselves, they most likely will win this game. Nothing really noteworthy about this. I mean, if anybody has any suggestions, let me know down in the comment section, but it's pretty much explanatory. As long as Alabama doesn't beat themselves, they should win this game. So the team I have winning this game, I have LSU winning this game, man. It's at LSU, hostile road environment in Death Valley, and I just feel LSU is going to get it done. I mean, it's really a toss-up. Any team can win this, but if LSU beats Alabama, then people are going to be like, oh, Alabama didn't play nobody. But if LSU loses, then hey. But I feel LSU has the advantage. They're going to be at home. They're going to be motivated. They're going to want to knock off Alabama. And I believe this year, LSU hasn't felt like they could have beaten Alabama in the past couple of years. And I feel they really, really believe that they can beat this Alabama team. And I believe that they can too. So I don't think it's going to be a high-scoring game. Alabama and LSU games are always normally low-scoring affairs. So I think it's going to be a score of 17-24. I believe somehow LSU manages to muster 24 points on offense, and that's going to be with help from the defense. So let me know what you guys think down in the section below. Make sure to like the video.